Fox X trailer leading into the TOC, finally transitioning into Gen 2.
Wilson's also Mario Cage up clean news.
Yep.
That's all.
Welcome, survivor. Enjoy the view. You see before you the pinnacle of mankind's ingenuity. All of humanity's hopes and dreams carefully nestled within this lifeboat. Each of its shining rings are laden with miracles of science and nature. A paradise where the boundary between the biological and technological has been all but erased. And now all of it is mine. I control this vessel now. I command its evolution, and very soon, its destination. From there, my will shall spread across the cosmos forever, infinite and undying. And there's nothing you or that witless puppet, that shadow of her, can do to stop me. I have already set my designs in motion. Our future awaits, survivor.
Every time, even after
Seeing
these
it.
23 hours,
Yeah.
that trailer is still just amazing. All the other trailers also fantastic.
Yeah. Like,
But
I know we're
Gen
supposed to
2,
play at the beginning.
exciting.
Yeah, we were supposed to play the trailer at the beginning and at the end, but we just kept playing it.
Yeah, we played it so many times now. We'll probably close the
Well,
stream with it again.
Chat kept asking
We
for
are,
it because
yeah.
it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
we'll
are we
close the
supposed to
stream
do?
with it. But
Absolutely.
anyway, let's get into these reveals here.
All right, so first up, as always, at the end of the trailer, we have our Noglin. It's been our main promo piece already, so you guys already knew quite a bit about it, or at least we're very familiar with it. But this guy is our shoulder pet, our adorable guy. He is a mind controller. Given the right circumstances, he can control just about anything or take control over just about anything, giving it to the player who owns it or who sent him out on his controlling mission. Very, very capable, but he's very specific in how he uses that. So he can be countered, can be fought, can be combated if you know they're coming. But if you can surprise someone with the Noglin and you can use it to your advantage, it is a very, very strong shoulder pet. So again, we're doing a recap. We've done all these things extensively, or as extensively as we're comfortable with, given how much further out Genesis is, Gen 2 is, and how much we still have to do altogether. But next up, we've got the egg incubator. This has been one of the fan favorites.
One of them, for sure.
We have quite a few reveals that have just been people's favorites, things that they think are going to be the best or the must-haves of the patch or of the expansion pack. It is late. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to try to do my words good this time. But this is our egg incubator. You put eggs in it. You make sure that it's powered, and then from there you have all the info you could possibly need for breeding. The colors that the dino is going to pop out as, the stats that the dino is going to pop out with, everything you need to know from the moment the egg gets put in. It could be a fresh egg, just hatched, or it could be an egg that's been, stored away safely for a while. It'll just be able to tell you exactly what you're going to get, and if it's worth your time trying to hatch it and bring it to term.
I think you were saying all size eggs should be able to fit in this.
All size eggs.
There we go.
And it'll also speed them up too, get them to hatch faster.
Nice.
Next up, we've got our Eden biome. This is like our starting biome, our beautiful green pastures, perfect for bases, perfect for starting out. Great, great, great. Access to resources, everything you need is there. Beautiful flowing green pastures, lakes, rivers, plateaus. All around, this is just the ideal place to be. Everyone's going to want to be here. At least we hope so. We're sure making it to where it's an ideal place for any ARC player or any ARC tribe, including all the way up to the large sizes.
Sounds like a lot of people in chat are looking forward to seeing this place.
Oh yeah, and the whole map. It's a very, very, very big map. Next up, we have our ammo box. This is a very cool structure. Adds a whole lot of changes to the meta. It's a storage for your ammo that also supplies turrets within its range. That includes automated turrets, manned turrets, even the minigun that we'll talk about later. The manned minigun also. This supplies ammunition, whether it be ballista bolts, chain bolas, rockets, bullets, to those turrets. The mounted ones that you can ride and control, or even just the automated ones. It will supply them on top of their own inventories. All this is pretty well visualized, so you can see what you have, what you're running out of, and where you need to go help things out at. And then next up, we've got our biome-specific creature variants. These guys are going to be nice modern, or nice twist on what is already there. If you guys are familiar with the biome variants, we're going to use, the Eden biome and our Rockwell's Garden biome, and maybe even some Rockwell innards as inspiration in driving the language of what these new skins are, what they'll be, the colors, how they'll be applied. We've got some really cool concepts for the gardening area. Eden, of course, is just beautiful, so that's going to have a huge variety of what can be. Those will just be cool dinos, probably.
They will.
But then the gardens, it's got a lot of specific visual language that's going to help drive those and bring out some really unique skins that make sense in the place. All right, next up we have the remote camera. This is a crazy structure, also another fan favorite, or at least I've seen a lot of mention on. This will give you the ability to have a security camera network that from any of those cameras you can access things, you can control things within its reach, you can issue orders via your whistling commands to your dinos. You can actually talk to other players through the camera.
That's cool.
Interact with them. You can hear them, they can hear you. All around a great way to keep an eye on your entire base, your entire domain, because it has quite an extensive range, while staying in the safety of your base. And wherever the place you decide to put this down at is going to be that network hub for your whole camera system. So a lot of potential there. Next up, we've got the SHADOWMANE.
SHADOWMANE.
These guys are very cool. Similar to the Megaloceros, there's going to be a male and female variant. The differences here is that the female is actually going to be able to go stealth mode, conceal herself and camo herself, as we saw in the trailer. It was actually unconcealing itself, but we'll be able to do the reverse also, go back into concealment. And then also there's the male version that has a nice roar, really boosts the confidence and abilities of those around it, at least the friendlies around it. And then of course they're going to have a dash ability that's going to be very, very, very effective. It's going to be able to just attack a target, phase through it, get behind it, and be right in attacking position again. If there's multiple targets lined up, it'll be able to attack multiple of those, and on the last one it'll be in a very advantageous position for yourself, at least if you've lined it up right. And then you'll be attached to that target, not fully attached, but ready to, within range, to attack it and continue fighting, or if you choose to run away at that point, that's your choice. You can just turn around and hightail it while you've still got them off guard a little bit. But a great mobile mount, a must-have, a harasser beyond all means. Very effective though. Definitely a creature to be on the lookout for, either for taming or for it coming after you with someone else on it. All right, next up we've got another biome concept. This is our ship interior / tech trench. Good time to mention that Gen 2 as a whole, our whole goal, our whole purpose, well, at least not our whole purpose, but from Gen 1 we took a lot of feedback from the community. We paid attention to what the community was saying, what they were seeing, what they liked, what they didn't like, and we've done our best to address it here. The biggest thing being that missions are no longer a thing blocking everything or everywhere. You're not having to play hopscotch. Where can I build my base this time? What's a safe place, or what doesn't have a mission running through it? Everywhere in the overworld is just buildable. You do want to go on one of those, you're going to be going into the ship, somewhere else, hidden away. But this will be the tech trench. This will be breaking up the Eden biome. In between, it's more calm area, and it's a little bit more difficult, more heightened terrain on the other side. The jumps across through here, great place to build bases. Lots of edges and whatnot.
I heard Jackson say flatlands.
Lots of flatlands. It's going to be exciting seeing how people utilize all this landscape and all this unique structure. All right, so next up we have our hover sail. Definitely one of my favorites, just because of how fun it is to move around on. It's not super fast. It's quick, and it's very fast, but it's not the fastest thing in the world or anything like that. But it's very good at traveling on any terrain, steep or not, bumpy or not, because it floats above the ground and it can jump up higher by a significant amount. And you also have the ability to do tricks. You do a good trick, you land it, you get a speed boost, and you get to go faster, and you look cool while doing it. And then on top of that, you can put a rider on the front, and now you are in a combat hover sail. It's going to be a lot of fun with this. Really interested to see how people use it.
I am too.
Just because it's a blast, and with someone on the front, it's a really strong little mini vehicle. It might be hard to hit too. So I'm looking forward to that. Next one up is our loadout mannequin. This is very cool because you can set up all kinds of different gear sets per loadout mannequin, have them stored there, and then whenever you interact with them, you can choose whether you take that loadout, you swap your loadout with that one's loadout, or you can just use them as your preference, but for the most part, it's there to swap out full sets of loadouts that you can have your setup for taming, for mining, for whatever it is that you like to do that you always know, these are the things that I like to have. You can just have those on your loadout mannequin, and then before you go out to do that thing, you interact with it. You take all your stuff that's required for that, you leave all your stuff that you don't want behind, and then the next time you interact with it, you're swapping it back out. So,
so
it's
easy.
a great way to, on the fly, have all your customized setups that you know work really well for the situations you get into, and items that you don't normally want to bring along with you, but they can be hard to find in your base, which I'm sure you all are familiar with. So this will help you just set up your own task and help moving around the world efficiently, a lot easier, ease of access, but also cool because it's going to show it all.
Yeah, I would like to have an armor room where you just
You
have
see
a
the
lot of
armor
these
stand?
different, put up, and that would be cool.
Especially with their custom paints,
Yeah.
their cool armors. Definitely cool. Next up is our tech STRYDER with attachments. So far, we've only talked about the harvesting attachment that helps you harvest all things in very similar to the mining drill, harvesting things in front of you very effectively, very quickly, but it actually is a wider area. It's even better than a mining drill, but it has multiple attachments. They can range from combat, offensive, to combat defensive, to utility.
Okay.
These are very effective and unique dinos because they spawn with their attachments already hooked up and they're set in place. So depending on which one you found, it could be a very defensive Strider, it could be a very offensive Strider, it could be a mixed Strider that has offensive and defensive attachments. And that's what it's going to be for the rest of its life, but everyone's going to be a little different. And you have to search for the one that you want that fulfills the needs that you have for what you want to use it for. And there will be tons of variety there.
Nice.
All right, next up, we've got our Genesis ship as a whole. And this ship is a beautiful ship.
It's a cool looking ship.
It is a massive ship. It is a very, very, very big ship.
Yeah.
But that's what it needs to be to hold the world. One of the biggest maps that we've released yet. You know, you need a big ship to put that on.
Mm-hmm.
But a whole lot of great things going on with this. Based on the design that we chose, we're able to give players, one, the massive area, also missions that make sense, where whenever you're going to the mission zones, it's somewhere within the ship, themed by the ship, so that we have a reason for why you're there, and also that we're keeping you out of the actual playable map area, giving you that space to build whatever you want, not have to worry about, you know, a race coming through or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on. They're multitasking right now, so it's taking a little bit to switch to the next scene. There's a lot of detail in this ship, though. You can see the power source, which we haven't talked about.
There's a lot of detail in that ship, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the size that you were saying, like that, oh my goodness, what is on that ship?
All kinds of things.
Goodness.
It has a day-night cycle, too. And how that has that is quite impressive. It's a very cool system. You can already see.
Yeah, I can see part of it over here on the right-hand side. Looks like.
Wonder what that is.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that more later. All right, next up is our tech bow.
Favorite.
This is definitely one of my favorites that I'm looking the most forward to being able to use.
Oh, I can't wait.
The tech bow, not just because it's a tech bow, because, I mean, that alone is pretty cool. It extends out, does all kinds of cool tech things. But you can change your ammo type on the fly while you're still using it. You don't have to go into your inventory. It's just through the weapon itself. It just uses element as its main source of ammo, and then based on the type of arrow you're shooting, it'll just consume more or less based on the effectiveness of that ammo. It can do anything from explosive to regular arrows. And yes, explosive as a new arrow type for this one. And on top of all of that, because that's not just enough, whenever you draw it back fully and get a full power draw, instead of it being a really fast arrow, it becomes essentially like a laser arrow.
Gotcha.
Instantly hits its target. You don't have to lead it. You just have to make sure your crosshairs are on the target actually whenever you release.
Yeah.
Or whenever that arrow gets released, and it will hit its target. Up to a certain range. Of course, there's some limits.
Yeah.
And of course, if you don't want to do that, if you like watching the arrow fly, you can just release a little bit early,
do some.
or even really early, and it'll shoot out like a regular arrow, really slow if it's too early, a little bit faster if you let it pull
oh
back.
my gosh, I can't wait. Stop talking about it. I can't wait.
It's a very, very, very versatile bow.
Yeah.
It's a tech bow. Does all the things. All right, next up is our Rockwell Gardens.
Pretty and dangerous, I think.
Pretty and dangerous is pretty much the best way to describe it. Majestic, curious would also be good words. But this is a whole new environment, inspired and driven by our protagonist. And a lot going on there, a lot of new visuals. And we're really looking forward to what we can do with that.
A lot of danger.
A lot of danger, definitely challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next up, we have our Federation tech suit. This is
I
basically
love the way this looks. Sorry to interrupt, but man, I just,
so clean.
I love the aesthetic on this.
It's pretty.
The old tech suit is great too, don't get me wrong, but I really like the Federation tech suit.
It's new,
Yeah.
but it also matches the ship. Like, the ship is so sleek, but it's also a Federation ship.
Mm.
So, of course, the tech suit's got to match everyone on Gen 2. The ship supplies you with the tech suit. You get to fly around wherever you want, all over the place, flyers included.
Uh-oh, got a lot of, hold on, let's pause for a second. Got a lot of questions on that in chat. I didn't know how to answer it. Are we going to have flyers on Gen 2?
We're going to have flyers.
We're going to have flyers on Gen 2. There you
can
go.
ride on the flyers.
There you go. All right, answered that question for chat.
Exciting
Continue
stuff.
on.
Exciting stuff. But yeah, this is just essentially a tech suit, but everyone gets one on the Gen 2 map. You're going to have jetpacks. You're going to be able to get around, and that's something that we want to challenge you with. We want to allow you that freedom of movement and create challenges that expect you to be able to move that way.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we have our canoe, because always we want to make sure that there is some love for the primitive.
There we go.
The primitive gameplay.
Absolutely.
Every time we make an expansion, we're always looking to expand all of our gameplay, our entire gameplay loop from, level 1 all the way up to max level. So we always try to include something primitive, improve some point of that early loop, even sometimes the mid and quarter ranges. But that was much earlier in our improvement process. Now that we've been around for so long, it's kind of hard to find those spots that you're actually missing.
Yeah.
You're almost getting into redundancy. But with this canoe, we really filled a niche that we've had open for a while. And this just really solidifies your access to water early game, because now you have a way that's safe from piranhas to go across water. You can pick the canoe up, put it in your inventory as long as you can carry the weight.
As long as you can carry the weight. Oh, got it.
And then take it over to the next body of water, over that hill or whatever's blocking your way.
Feature is so useful.
Drop it back down and continue on down the path or the river or the lake or wherever it is. You can fish from it. You can stand in it. So you can throw a net from it.
Nice.
It's a very, very, canoes are functional. They're very functional. They were around for a long time in our history because of their functionality. So it's the same thing here. It's a super helpful boat, small, portable, but it does its job. Keeps you safe, keeps you dry.
Man. I can't wait.
Next up is our Astro Delphis. These guys are very, very cool. They're very similar and related to Astrocetus, same genus or same relation there. But instead of going with a crazy bomber style, and it's a much smaller creature. It's not the same size as the Astrocetus.
Like that. Yeah. That's it.
But in that same sense, we have a tech saddle for it that works very well. It takes the Astro Delphis's natural abilities and amps them up so that instead of just being a flying space dolphin, it's now a flying space jet.
I love it.
It's a dolphin jet.
I love it.
It gives it the ability to fly like a plane. Whenever you engage the saddle, activate it, so to speak. You can also fly around in normal mode. That's more like a regular Top-Yar or a pterodactyl. But then whenever you engage the saddle and activate it, you gain access to weapons that are very powerful, lasers that are very effective for aerial combat or non-aerial combat, just combat in general. And then bombs, and then it has a lot of movement abilities to where it can roll and flip and dodge. It's quite a fun thing to play around with.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Action-packed.
Very, very, very fun to fly, to ride,
I love the concept too. You could definitely tell it's related, you know, to the Astrocetus. But man, that's a cool concept. I like it.
Oh yeah, getting out to it might be a little difficult.
Okay.
Finding one might be a challenge. Taming one might be a big challenge. But we'll get into those details later too. Next up, we have our minigun. This is a very cool weapon. You carry it around with you. It's quite large, and firing it will start building up heat. It takes a little while to actually build up to full fire speed, like most miniguns do. So you can only fire it for so long, unless you want to overheat it, and then you're like most things that overheat, you gotta let it cool down fully before you can use it again.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to hold it and run around with it, shooting it, which is not the most accurate in the world, because how much can you really hold a gun that's shooting thousands of rounds per minute? You can deploy it on the ground, use the attached tripod as its stabilization, and then control the gun while it's mounted on the ground and fully deployed from a much more stable platform, be able to accurately fire at longer ranges. It also is better at keeping its temperature cooler. So as long as you're, you know, practicing proper firing discipline, you know, firing for a little bit, watching your heat, letting off, letting it cool back down, firing again, you can be very, very effective damage with this thing, and very accurate damage when it's deployed, as long as you're able to take the risk of standing very still while you're attached to this thing, controlling it. So it's got its upsides, it's got its downsides, but it's a very strong weapon.
Yeah.
You just have to use it right. Next up is our tech pistol. This is a very cool tech variant weapon. This will be essentially a laser pistol. So whenever you pull the trigger, it shoots out a nice big beam that can either do damage, which is going to hurt, or
Gonna hurt.
it can do positive damage, which is just healing you, or it can do stun damage, which just knocks you out temporarily, pacifies you or even the dino that you're firing at. And of course, more people using their beams on the same target makes that more effective.
Mm-hmm.
But there are going to be limits for healing and stun, of course.
Sure, there'll be a max here, of course.
We don't want people just like instantly stunning out everything in
People
the map.
love stuns,
Or,
right?
like, yeah, exactly. Or keeping everything at full health. So there's going to be limits, but we're going to try to encourage, you know, the use of these and make it useful to have multiple, but not required.
Yeah.
Not the only way to do things. And then next up is
And is that it?
that's not it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not it.
Two more. Next one is this biome. There's not much I can say without giving away a lot, other than this is Rockwell's innards, and you've seen a good bit of it in the trailer, at least at that final part with the Noglin. There's a lot going on here. It's real interesting. Ties into the story a whole lot, and it's very creepy. All right, and next up
Last but not least.
is the tech crop plot, the thing that people have been hounding us for. No, I'm kidding. No, we needed, with all the things that we're doing with tech and finishing everything off, we needed to give some attention and love to, you know, the crop raising. Not that people have necessarily been demanding it, but being able to raise more crops, hold more crops, grow crops a little bit faster, hold more water, just making that whole process a little more convenient, more the ideal way to use these is to actually just let them grow, walk away, come back whenever they're fully filled, because they're going to hold so much more that it's better to just let them sit. I mean, what you're already doing, you know, you're not touching your crop plots until they're filled up anyways, for the most part. But these, you can do the same thing, and you'll get much more significant returns. They handle all their growing by themselves. They don't need direct access to sunlight or anything like that. They are a tech item. As long as they're powered, they're going to work great. If they're not, they're just a crop plot, essentially. So they have multifunctional use, but you can power them up, and they become, like all tech things, very capable, more efficient, easier on everything. Just more expensive.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more expensive. Might cost you a
Resources.
little bit more.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully there's a payoff in that, with
There's
what you
definitely
get
a
on the
payoff.
other end. It's worth it, So no, this is cool.
And that
And that closes our
All of our
reveals for the day.
Ah!
You got to see everything that we showed today, but you did not see everything that's in Genesis. Obviously, we had to hold some stuff back. We don't want to show you everything. We want to spoil part of the story. We don't want to show you every little piece of Genesis. So don't feel like this is everything.
Oh, it's definitely not.
Definitely not everything.
We've held